Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to begin by giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachakwadash. Double honors to the elders and to the apostle of Millstone, and then our respected brothers out there pushing and spreading the gospel of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai to the four corners of the world. Now, through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, I wanted to do a quick lesson on this article, which is entitled, with Iran ceasefire over, Trump shifts to battle for Hormuz. Long story short, he has now, made a decision to extend the military actions in Iran, right? So they're gonna stay there for good. But before I begin, I want to go into the book of Micah, chapter 2, beginning with verse 10. It says, "Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. Because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction." And this here, contextually applied to the nation of Israel, right? During Micah's ministry, he prophesied against the nation of Israel because of their wickedness. And in so many words, he says this, that the land in which we do wickedness in, when it's time for the Lord to bring judgment, we would have to end up not being in that land, and that the Lord was going to bring judgment by way of the nations, and we were going to be scattered throughout the four corners of the world, and be in captivity, and that was going to be our punishment. He will remove our security in having borders. And that's essentially the same kind of judgment that the Lord is bringing upon these nations, primarily Esau, right? You have that land that technically, yes, which literally, right, because of the Amalekites in that land, the Lord will He will destroy them, and He will sack them from that land, just like He did us. But their exile or their, removal will come by way of what? A fiery destruction. Now, how it applies to Babylon also is that, people live in Babylon and they feel secure behind the military and the economy of America, and they think life is all good. But the land is polluted. And just like the Lord can bring judgment upon people, like He did on the other side of the world, He will do the same here. But this time, when He removes people from this land, it won't be to relocate them, but it will be to destroy them from off the face of the earth by way of thermonuclear missiles. And this is the ultimate destruction that the prophet of the Lord, right, beginning with the elders of Great Millstone, right, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and the elders onward. And this is the prophecy that has been emphasized and highlighted and, declared to our people and to the nations as a witness. And we've been saying for so long that people think that it's just a bunch of madmen on the corners of the street saying the same thing over and over again, and the words of the Lord doesn't alarm them like it ought to be. And that's because they're in this mindset of Ezekiel, the 12th chapter, right? Where because they think that because they see the men of the Lord always out there in the highways and the byways preaching unto them, they think that nothing really is going to happen, right? They've taken advantage of the long suffering of the Lord. So it says, Ezekiel chapter 12, verse 17. Verse 21. Ezekiel 12:21, "And the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, Ezekiel, saying, Son of man, what is that proverb that ye have in the land of Israel, saying, the days are prolonged, and every vision faileth? Tell them therefore, thus saith the Lord, I will make this proverb to cease, and they shall no more use it as a proverb in Israel, but say unto them, the days are at hand, and the effect of every vision. For there shall be no more vain divination, nor vain vision, nor flattering divination within the house of Israel." All right. So we've been saying that, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. We go into the book of Ezekiel, 38th chapter. They're gonna go into Iran, and the reason the conflict in Iran is gonna, grow is because the Amalekites, the so-called Israelis, are gonna do something. They're gonna do something reckless, which is gonna draw America into it. And when America gets drawn into it, Iran is also gonna draw its allies into it, and the world superpower Russia is gonna get involved in that, and then World War III is gonna pop off. We've been saying this over and over and over and over again. In fact, to the point where I have this old breakdown by the apostles, and it begins here. In fact, give me a second. I'm not really sure if it's let me just take this off.
Reporting for that book, he wrote, and let me show you a book by David Sanger of the New York Times that he wrote called The Inheritance, The World Obama Confronts, and the Challenge to American Power. And in the course of his reporting for that book, he wrote this about Israel's plans. Early in 2008, the Israeli government signaled that it might be preparing to take matters into its own hands. This is about Iran. In a series of meetings, Israeli officials asked Washington for a new generation of powerful bunker busters, far more capable of blowing up a deep underground plant than anything in Israel's arsenal of conventional weapons. They asked for refueling equipment that would allow their aircraft to reach Iran and return to Israel. And they asked for the right to fly over Iraq.
I can't say that Israel shares with the United States and with many, many countries. Let me tell you, David, I think we shared with just about all the governments in the Middle East. I've talked to many of the leading European heads of governments and many others. We all don't want to see this regime acquire nuclear weapons. We all don't want to see this regime acquire nuclear weapons.
Yeah. And it's a very it's a nice video, right? It's not nice, it's just an understatement. It's perfectly, put together and very thorough, right? And I encourage, whoever has not seen this to go into it and watch it and be edified. And there's also another part here. I think it's 1920.
In Iran today, right now. Go ahead, read that again a little bit quicker.
Iran and Russia maintain ties in many fields, Najjar said.
Iran and Russia, what?
Maintain ties in many fields.
That's why you don't want to go. You better not go up in there. You best, but you know what? You're going to go in there any damn way, okay? You better hope like hell. It's just, you Edomites, you crackers, you better go to church and start praying to your Lord Satan, all right? You Luciferians, you better start going to church and start praying to your God, Satan, and ask him to calm that situation down, to buy some time for your ass. Because once you send the troops in there and war is declared, that's it, man. Countdown to Armageddon. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's it. Once they get in there, that's what prophecy is, right? You can't regress. If it's your destiny to live through it, that's exactly what you're going to do. Now, what he thought he was going to do was going to go in there, just like Russia thought they were going to do in Ukraine. They were going to go in there, and fix something up, and maybe within a week or a month or so, they can achieve the objective and then leave and be better, right? But they go in there and they do all this talk, which, yeah, they are winning the war. They're dominating Iran, but they can't destabilize it. For whatever reason, whatever measures they are taking, it's not enough to give them the outcome that they're looking for. All right, let me, right. It's not enough. Whatever outcome that you're looking for, the military, action that they're doing over there is not enough. That's why we're constantly seeing articles of Iran hitting tankers, and so on and so. A lot of things are going on over there. So the Lord has had them in a trick bag, And I always reference the book of Psalms, the 2nd chapter, that the Lord has chained them. There's a spiritual chain around them that they don't recognize. They don't realize it. Or at least, no, the scripture says they realize it, but they're trying to avoid it. He knows about the prophecy. He knows that if America goes in the Middle East, that's the end of the world. But he wants to make America great. He doesn't want America to end. So what the hell is he doing going up in there? He has more money than any man's heart could wish for. But he still goes in there. There's something driving them. It's the Spirit of the Lord. It's not driving them in a good way. It's driving them to do what? It's driving them to their destruction. Right? But, even though I think also wanted to get something here. Just going to go on here and play this one.
And that, look, we're coming to the end of this thing. That's why the scripture said redeem the times.
Right.
You got to know what time you were in, man.
Yeah. Right.
You're not supposed to be thinking.
So I think that what we are seeing is we are probably edging closer to what might become a full-fledged war in the region, even a world war where Iran is the cornerstone if it is attacked by Israeli, American, British, or a combination of all three forces in the near future.
It is very interesting how you bring Russia and China into this, basically describing the massive trade agreements between Iran and China and Russia. Certainly, if the West did try and attack Iran, it would certainly flare tempers in two of the biggest world powers, that of Russia and China. Now, a moment ago, you mentioned the issue of Israel. If Israel did unilaterally attack Iran, as we know just a few days ago, it test-fired this new intercontinental missile, do you think America would have to support its closest ally? Would it have to be involved?
America supports Israel unconditionally in the diplomatic, strategic, military, financial spheres. There is a whole line of thought in America from academic Stephen Walt of Harvard University and John Mearsheimer of Chicago University that says that Zionist influence through AIPAC, the American Israeli Public Affairs Commission, is so strong that it has succeeded in making American foreign policy prioritize the national interest of Israel over the national interest of the United States. Now, the United States is not so much bent on war, public opinion, against Iran, but Israel is. So one can envision that Israel is a wild card. It might unilaterally attack Iran. It will then bear a counterattack, which will be ferocious from Iran against Israel. And then the Western media will plan the whole thing out so that it will drag public opinion from America and Europe to support Israel. And what can happen after that is anybody's guess, because we don't know what Russia will do. We don't know what China will do. We don't even know what Pakistan and India will do.
No,
Who's going to be the next president? You're going to be thinking, well, look, is the Mosai coming next month,
Right.
this week, or
Right.
6 months from now?
Right.
Don't be thinking, well, 10 years from now. You're talking about I'm going to go to the damn Olympics in 2012, man. Ain't going to be no damn 2012. Just play. Don't you brothers see what the hell's going on?
Redeeming the time.
Do you know there's a reason why that they're down there in Iraq and
Right.
Afghanistan and they're
Right.
getting ready, looking for a door to go into Iran?
Right.
There's a reason why that's happening,
Right.
and they haven't pulled back out. They've been down there going on 4 years.
Right.
You brothers better start opening your damn eyes.
Yeah, man. So, and it's something also that I think is interesting is because when he was talking about all the nations that were going to get involved, he mentioned, Pakistan and India and, all these, the Spirit, really got him to mention all these Persian nations, only these Persian nations, right? So the point here is that when you read the book of Isaiah 66 chapter, it tells you that this time was going to come where all the things that we've been saying and all the years that we have suffered, enduring the scoffs and the rebukes, right, of these people, the Lord was going to appear to our joy, right? So Isaiah 66 verse 5, it says, "Hear the word of the Lord Yahweh, ye that tremble at his word." And, as you can see, the way Apostle Paul was speaking, you got to always envision the future, believe in the word of the Lord so much that, the future doesn't even seem like it's going to be prolonged. That's why he talked about Don't even be thinking like, you're making plans for 10 years from now, you know? And so that's how you tremble at the word of the Lord, right? You hang on its every word. Your brethren that hated you and cast you out for my name's sake said, let the Lord Yahweh be glorified, but he shall appear to your joy, and they shall be ashamed. That's why, this is what articles like this coming out, it's for our joy. We have done a good work in the name of Yahweh Bashim Yashai, and this is just the beginning of our glory. This is it. If was ever any doubt as to whether or not this is the truth, this is the truth, man. There shouldn't be any doubt about it. I mean, at this point, it's crystal clear. There's no other alternative, no other institution or gatherings or religions in the world that has been on spot with this truth, with this ministry. There's no contender. And it's all through what? Yahweh Bashim Yashai, the world filled with madness, and we have overcome all that madness. And only the doctrine of the Lord has stood. It stood against the test of time. It stood against scrutiny. It stood against destruction. And if we stand with it, we stand in the word of the Lord, we shall be everlasting as his word. All right? So it says the White House is preparing for what could become a multi-day or even a multi-week exchange of fire with Iran over the Strait of Hormuz. And remember, I did a video about this a while back, that there's a pattern to every war that ever escalates. There's a pattern. It begins with strategic strike. Oh, let's strike the the infrastructure, the bridges, the highways, the energy sites, the nuclear sites. We're just gonna strike things strategically. One or two or three, maybe 4 or 10 strikes at max, and then we're gonna stop the war. They keep saying they're gonna fight war with measure, but eventually it keeps escalating. And escalating until eventually they're just killing. They just start killing. And if you know anything about the doctrine in which Esau wages war, there's a distinction between him and the nations that even the the author of the Cambridge History of Warfare for Westerners admits, right? Jeffrey Parker. Right? There's a whole doctrine for Edomite warfare, and it tells you that how Edomites distinguish from the other nations is that when they wage war for pure destruction. They don't wage war, like haphazardly. They go in there with the intention to kill. They will use diseases, chemical warfare. They will destroy the environment. They do not care. And they were different in that regard. So this thing here where things are escalating to where they're going to end up even doing strikes, right, for multiple weeks continuously. This is the word of the Lord being made manifest. Now we don't gotta dispute with anyone as to whether or not we're breaking the scriptures right. No, it's what we said back then. Is it right? Is the world around you reflecting what was said according to the scriptures? If the answer is yes, then shut the fuck up and move on. That's the power that the Lord has given us. That's why you gotta believe and know that you are a prophet of the Lord. There shouldn't be any doubt whatsoever. It's not men that commissioned us. We don't do this, so that men can be pleased. We don't do this so that men can be in agreement with us. We do it to please the Lord, because the Lord is the one who has the ultimate say and will. So if he says he's going to do something, hey, who can but prophesy? All right. So it says the length and severity of the new campaign hinge entirely on Tehran's next moves, U.S. officials tell Axios. Why it matters: a war that began with the goal of degrading Iran's missile capabilities and destroying what remained of its nuclear program has evolved into an open-ended fight over the world's most important energy choke point. A U.S. official said that the current escalation could last a day or two, a week, or a month, depending on whether Iran continues its attack on commercial ships in the Strait of Hormuz. We're going to slap them a bit so they understand we're not fucking around, the U.S. official said. Yeah, if a U.S. official is cursing, right, in a professional setting, he's frustrated. The Lord has frustrated them. This man can't even get a shot. He can't even sleep. He can't rest. He has all this money, but he can't even have peace. What's the point of having all these riches then? That's why they got to go over there to Epstein's Island and do all this abominable act. That's why they got to, take out their frustrations on the poor. That's why they do all these sacrifices, all these witchcraft. It's because they have no peace. And they want to spread their misery onto the world. Says diplomacy has stalled for now, and military pressure is back at the center of President Trump's strategy. They're not leaving there, man. They are going to be in there. The chip is going to come out, and the Lord is going to turn up the heat. Trump said Wednesday the 60-day ceasefire outlined in a memorandum of understanding was over after an exchange of fire triggered by Iranian attacks on commercial ships. Yeah, because the scripture says that what they shall remember their nature with their dragons of Arabia. The Carmanians, they are not going to stop. You can't just slap Iran around. They are not going to stop. As long as they got breath in them, the Lord has put that kind of fire in them. But what it takes to destroy them won't happen until the chip comes into play, which is the nuclear missiles. So they're going to be in there. If the U.S. ain't trying to back down and Iran ain't trying to back down, well, what do you suppose is going to happen? They're just going to keep at it until the angels that hold back the four winds, let go. And then what? The stage is set for Yahushai. And when missiles are flying off, then he comes to the chaos, right? I have come to set fire upon the earth. And what will I if it be not already kindled? In a sense, saying that, hey, it's his will. He wished to kindle the fire in the earth. So he's going to come to a magnificent mess, and then he's going to mess it up even more. And then he's going to establish order. Because everything about this world has to be torn down, has to be broken down, man. This world is whack. It's filthy. It's ridiculous, man. There is it cannot be salvaged. I've learned some new things about this world, about the horribleness that goes on with the history and even the things that goes on. The world got even more bigger than I thought it was because of the wickedness. The shit that these heathens are doing, the things that our people are doing, I always thought I understand why the Lord has to do a hard reset, but you think you understand, and then you see some shit, and it's like, oh my goodness, man. Can the Lord even do this even quicker? And this is from the perspective of man. Each person, you can only know so much. Your brain can only take so much. Your eyes can only see so much. You can only wait. What are the chances that you're going to witness all the wickedness in the world? But the Lord sees it all. You don't think he's going to bring this destruction? So he has a noose around all these heathens. But we are the ones that he has set up in a proper position for salvation. And all we have to do is believe in his word like we did in the beginning and keep cultivating our faith, because the transition into the kingdom of heaven is going to require a test, the hour of temptation. And it is only your faith that's going to take you through that time. Iran's top negotiator Mohammad Bagar Ghalibaf accused the U.S. of bullying and breaking promises and warned that the strait would only reopen on Tehran's terms. If you strike, you'll get hit. The Strait of Hormuz will only open with Iran's arrangement, not America's threat. I'm just going to end it there. I'm going to put the link in the article. And, but you get the gist of the article, right? It's just telling you that the war even escalated, right? So, in closing, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Racha Kodash, Shalom Yah, Bahashem Shabrak to Yakim Sanakwivs, that are listening in truth and in sincerity. May the blessing and blessing be upon the house. And until next time, Shalom.